We got some new updates in the Epstein crime and cover-up that is sending the Trump administration into a tailspin. They're chasing their tails. They're holding secret meetings that aren't so secret. They're putting J.D. Vance out on the Sunday morning talk shows to try to make sure that everybody knows it was the Biden administration that was involved with the Epstein files, and that didn't work. And now we've got the two new pieces of data point that have come out. Bad week already for the Trump administration. On Monday, Paul Engelmeyer, a federal judge in New York, not only denied their request to release the very scant and skimpy grand jury transcripts, but he also excoriated the Trump administration and told them that they are at fault. They should release the damn files effectively, and then reminded everybody how many victims there are of Ghislaine Maxwell and why she's a horrible, horrible convicted child sex trafficker. Now, here's the two new data points. I did reporting already that Ghislaine Maxwell, as marked down under the Bureau of Prisons records, is allowed to take work release. See, that's what happens when you get transferred to a minimum security prison, which you're not entitled to under the Bureau of Prisons guidelines because you're a sex offender. They don't usually reward sex offenders or let them be in a general population because they're a sex offender. So she not only got transferred as a reward for trying to help out Donald Trump, where now we got a child sex predator who's vouching for the president of the United States. You know how far Donald Trump's administration has sunk at this point. She gets rewarded. Good girl. Thanks for trying to get me out of it. You get to go to a minimum security camp in Texas. And the reporting is Bureau of Prisons marked her out as somebody that can go out into the public. Yeah. And so we reported on it. Ghislaine Maxwell's lawyer, who's freaking out because he's trying to run this rehabilitation campaign of his horrible client to convince everybody that she's the victim. So he doesn't want out there anything about her testimony. That's why she's not testifying at the grand jury at the Congress. He doesn't really want her testimony out there through the Department of Justice because he's still trying to work the pardon. And he didn't like the story that came out that she gets to work at a Starbucks near you, I guess, hunting other young girls while she's at it. And so when that came out and that story was broken by Allison Gill, who writes under the sobriquet of Mueller, she wrote, you got David Oscar Marcus, the lawyer down in Miami, coming out with fake news. It's fake news. I don't know what the fake news part is. She has the receipts. I'm going to put them up on the screen. There is, you can see it for yourself. There is the Bureau of Prisons. There is the classification that allows her to go out for work release. Now, we did not report, neither did Mueller, she wrote, that she's out right now working at the Starbucks in Texas, but she can be, and that's the point. So here's just, then I have one more big data point with what the Democrats are doing in the House and the Senate about it. I kind of want to tie all this together. But here is what Allison Gill reported, and accurately. You saw what was up on the screen. She's listed as out in a low or minimum security summary, which allows her to get out, which is exactly what Jeffrey Epstein apparently was given when he got his sweetheart deal to continue to abuse girls when Alan Dershowitz represented him. David Oscar Marcus then sees that reporting and says, another day, another false rumor about Ghislaine meant to unnecessarily inflame folks, but he does not deny that she's listed as out, meaning she can go out for work release. And that was the report, the point of the reporting. Here's what Mueller, she wrote, Allison Gill, this is what she wrote. Good morning. Here's my response. I stand by my reporting and my sources. Ghislaine Maxwell's electronic file clearly shows her public safety factor of sex offender has been waived, allowing her to be transferred to a minimum security camp, which by default includes work release, OUT. I've not reported that Ms. Maxwell has left the facility, but if Mr. Marcus would like to go on the record and assure the residents of Bryan, Texas, that she will not leave the facility as the waiver apparently grants, I'm certain they and Maxwell survivors who have been left out of this process would be relieved to hear it. Marcus, of course, did not respond to Allison. By the way, I'll invite him onto this show. And he's somebody that knows my colleague, Katie Fangwell. David, come on with Katie and me, and you can set the record straight. Our audience will listen. That's an open invitation. Join Legal AF, David Oscar Marcus, calling all Ghislaine Maxwell lawyers that want to come on and speak to us in our audience. Let's go. Now, here's the last data point for this morning. Thursday morning here on Legal AF is that we've got the House Democrats joining with senators like Sheldon Whitehouse making demands on the head of the Bureau of Prisons and on Pam Bondi to release the damn files, to release the files about Ghislaine Maxwell's transfer from low security to minimum security, which is never done for a sex predator, and about work release and the like. So we've got, let me put up the letter, read to you from the letter, I should say. This is addressed to Pam Bondi, Attorney General, and William K. Marshall, Director of the Federal Bureau of Prisons. 2 weeks ago, the letter says, you inexplicably transferred Ghislaine Maxwell's, Jeffrey Epstein's co-conspirator, from a federal correctional institution to a far preferable and relatively luxurious minimum security camp in Texas 3 years into her 20-year sentence for sexually exploiting and abusing minor girls as young as 14. The transfer followed Todd Blanche, Department of Justice's private interviews, arranged after a firestorm of media attention about the DOJ's refusal to release the Epstein files. These actions raised substantial concerns that the administration now may be attempting to tamper with a crucial witness, conceal Trump's relationship with convicted sex offenders, and coax Ms. Maxwell into providing false or misleading testimony to protect the president. The transfer appears to violate the DOJ and BOP, Bureau of Prison policies. We write to demand DOJ and BOP provide all documents and information related to Deputy Attorney General Blanche's interview of Ms. Maxwell and the sudden transfer to a lower security prison, giving her greater freedom, which is categorically off limits for sex offenders. And now they're also asking for, in addition, besides the fact that they're saying that her credibility has been compromised, they want to also talk about the fact that she is available for work release. Now, Senator Whitehouse, Sheldon Whitehouse, who's been on Legal AF before, in fact, we've invited him to come back on and talk to us and brief our audience. He wrote a very similar letter on his letterhead. Here's Sheldon Whitehouse's letter, and that was on August 7th, also to Director Marshall, demanding all the same information. He's the ranking member of the Senate Judiciary Subcommittee on Federal Courts and the rest. Now, why do I want to bring this to your attention now? It's because a lot of people say, what are the Democrats doing? What are the Democrats doing? Well, there's a couple of things. The media, legal commentators like Allison Gill, Mueller, She Wrote, Legal AF, Midas Touch, we're training our artillery on this issue. We're keeping our audience engaged and focused with real and true information. So that's one. Secondly, in the courts, organizations like Democracy Forward, who has a playlist here on Legal AF with Sky Perryman, its founder, Democracy Forward Foundation, has 80 cases against the Trump administration, including the first case filed seeking the Epstein files, including the flight logs, the client lists, communications between Epstein and Trump and Maxwell and Trump and the rest. It's pending before, wait for it, Judge Chutkan, the judge who oversaw Donald Trump's criminal prosecution in the DC election interference case. They've already filed. They're so aggressive in a good way, good trouble for Democracy Forward. As Sky Perryman just told me, you can find their playlist again on Legal AF. She just told me in an interview a couple days ago that they filed a summary judgment motion already. We don't need a trial judge. Let's get right to giving us the documents under the Freedom of Information Act request that we made. So we're in the courts, we're in the media, we're in the public consciousness. And then finally, the Democrats, who are not in the majority, but hopefully that will change, who are in the minority, are the party in opposition, the party out of power, if you will, but not out of ability to bring this to the public attention. So the House ranking Democrats that I just read you from, and Senator Whitehouse on the Democratic side, Senator side, they're writing their letters. They're holding shadow hearings. when they bring these people in, as the Oversight Committee will, to bring in Marshall for the Bureau of Prisons, to bring in Pam Bondi. They'll cross-examine her. They'll grill her for the American people. This is what you can do at this moment in time together. We're joined at the hip together. And together we will overcome the Trump administration. I promise you. Thank you for being here on Legal AF. Hit the free subscribe button. If you want to help us, Legal AF Substack, subscribe, be a member, be a paid member. That helps keep the lights on, helps keeping these contributors coming to you. So until my next report, I'm Michael Popok. I'm Michael Popok, and I got some big news for our audience. Most of you know me as the co-founder of Midas Touch's Legal AF and the Legal AF YouTube channel, or as a 35-year national trial lawyer. Now, building on what we started together on Legal AF, I've launched a new law firm, the Popok Firm, dedicated to obtaining justice through compassionate and zealous legal representation. At the Popok Firm, we are focused on obtaining justice for those who have been injured or damaged by a life-altering event by securing the highest dollar recoveries. I've been tirelessly fighting for justice for the last 35 years, so my own law firm organically building on my Legal AF work just feels right. And I've handpicked a team of top-tier trial fighters and settlement experts throughout all 50 states known as big auto injury attorneys who have the know-how to beat heartless insurance companies, corporations, government entities, and their attorneys. Big Auto's attorneys working with my firm are rock stars in their respective states and collectively responsible for billions of dollars in recoveries. So if you or a loved one have been on the wrong side of a catastrophic auto, motor vehicle, rideshare, or truck accident, suffered a personal injury, or been the victim of medical malpractice, employment harassment or discrimination, or suffered a violation of your civil and constitutional rights, then contact the Popok Firm today at 1-877-POPOK-AF or by visiting my website at www.thepopokfirm.com and fill out a free case evaluation form. And if we determine that you have a case and you sign with us, we don't get paid unless you do. The Popok Firm, fighting for your justice every step of the way.